Hello, I'm speaking with you again from Emmanuel United Church in Waterloo, Ontario. The passage this week is from Luke 16, and it's the story of the unjust steward. It is the most difficult parable to understand because on the face of it, it seems that Jesus is actually commending dishonest behavior. In the story, a manager has been discovered in dishonest behavior by his master, and his master is about to fire him. And so the manager wonders, what am I going to do? Well, one thing he does not do, by the way, is he does not blame anyone else for his situation. How about that? Another thing he does is he undertakes a rather honest assessment of himself. He says, essentially, I'm too lazy to work and I'm too honest to beg, so what am I going to do? Well, what he ends up doing is he gathers all the people who are indebted to his master and he has them reduce their bill. He says, you owe my master 100 jars of olive oil, sit down and make it 50. Or you owe my master 100 containers of wheat, sit down and make it 80. And with no further explanation than that, we are told that the master commends the unjust steward for his shrewdness. And then Jesus says, the children of this age are more shrewd in dealing with their own generation than are the children of light. He says that those who are honest with a little will be honest with much, and those who are dishonest with a little will be dishonest with much. And those who are dishonest with what belongs to someone else, if they are dishonest, who will give you what is your own? And he also says, make friends for yourselves through dishonest wealth so that when it is gone, they will welcome you into the eternal homes. And finally, a slave cannot serve two masters. You cannot serve both God and wealth. Well, an awful lot from a kind of a confusing parable. Well, in reading all this and doing research, it seems to me that it all comes down to crisis management versus cruise control. Because if you read the gospel stories, it seems that everyone who meets Jesus is in crisis. They're already in crisis because of something that's happened before they meet Jesus, or they end up in crisis because they've met Jesus. Well, what crisis? Well, the colliding of values, the values of their own life, the values that are accepted by society that collide with the values of the kingdom. Jesus says, oh sure, you say this or that, but I tell you. Usually it boils down to revenge and selfishness colliding with the kingdom values of compassion and forgiveness and acceptance. I think one of the strongest images that we have to keep in mind about Jesus is that of Jesus in the temple overturning the tables of the money changers, because he is upsetting their economies. He is turning their values on their head. And that's still happening today. And that is the crisis. And then he says the children of this age, even they end up getting it right, even if it is for the wrong reason. How much more important then for the children of light to do the right thing for the right reason? Well, what is the right thing? Well, it has at least to do in part, I'm sure, with money and our economy and forgiveness and the forgiveness of debt. You know, another passage for this week is from Amos 8. Go back. I invite you to read the whole book of Amos and see how much the prophet speaks about the oppression of the poor and the need for justice. How much more important to write off debt than to write off people? How much more important than our relationship with money is our relationship with people and our sense of both a local and a global community? I honestly believe that if we would truly allow ourselves to be confronted by these same kingdom values, that we would be knocked out of our comfortable cruise control and into crisis management. But ultimately, as we continue to grow, we would no longer see these values as a crisis that threatens our control, but rather as the rising Christ inviting us into a healing wholeness. Thank you.